Picture this. The night is thick with tension. Shadows flicker in the candlelight, casting eerie shapes on the walls. The disciples gather around Jesus, sharing the Passover meal. As they make their way to the Mount of Olives, a place of prayer and passion, Jesus leads the conversation with piercing words. He prophesies betrayal, denial, and fear. Their world is about to be turned upside down. This is the calm before the storm. Welcome to the Al Pastor Podcast. Matthew 26:31-35 says, Then Jesus said to them, All of you will be made to stumble because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee. Peter answered and said to him, Even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble. Jesus said to him, Assuredly I say to you that this night before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you. And so said all the disciples. I want you to imagine the scene with me. It's the night before Jesus' crucifixion. The disciples are unaware of the gravity of the situation. They're likely thinking that this is just another night. But Jesus, knowing all that is about to unfold, gives them a solemn warning. This is more than a warning. It's a prophecy. Jesus tells them, this very night, you will all stumble on account of me. Now, Matthew is very unique in his detailing of this account because he highlights the immediacy of it by specifying this night, making the prophecy even more urgent. The term that Jesus also uses here for stumble could be translated in several ways, with phrases like fall away or lose faith or take offense. But I want to make sure that we are clear here that Jesus isn't saying that they will abandon him forever, rather that they will have a momentary lapse, a failure that is out of character. Fear is what will drive them away. Now, Jesus sees this as a fulfillment of Scripture, specifically citing Zechariah 13:7, which speaks of the shepherd being struck and the sheep scattering. The disciples are not in immediate physical danger. They'll scatter out of fear when Jesus is arrested. Now, this scattering isn't random. It's a fulfillment of divine purpose woven into God's plan. There's a strange comfort here. What's about to happen is under God's sovereign control. Jesus then shifts to a promise. He says, After I have been raised, I will go ahead of you into Galilee. In other words, the resurrection is coming. Now, this promise must have puzzled the disciples who hadn't fully grasped the impending death of their master. Jesus doesn't just say he will rise, he says he will be raised, emphasizing God the Father's active role in the resurrection. He assures them that he'll meet them again in Galilee, the place where their journey began. Now, Peter, always the vocal disciple, responds with a bold declaration. He says, even if all fall away on account of you, I never will. His loyalty and determination are clear, but so is his lack of understanding. Jesus, knowing Peter's heart in the coming events, tells him sadly, Peter, this very night before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter's response is even more adamant. He says, even if I have to die with you, I'll never deny you. And it wasn't just Peter. All the disciples echoed this sentiment. Yet as the night unfolded, all would fail to stand by Jesus. In their greatest moment of trial, they would be found wanting. Now, what can we learn from this passage? First, we see Jesus' foreknowledge and his sovereignty. He wasn't surprised by the events of that night. He knew the disciples would falter, yet he loved them and prepared a way for restoration. Second, we see the human condition. What is that? It's our propensity to stumble under pressure. The disciples' failure is a mirror to our own weaknesses. You and I, yes, we have moments where fear and doubt can overtake us. But listen, here's the message today. There's hope. Jesus didn't just predict their failure. He also predicted his resurrection and their reunion in Galilee. His grace covers our failures, our lapses, our sin don't disqualify us from his love or his plans. So here are a couple of questions for us to meditate on, for us to apply to our lives. In what areas of your life are you prone to stumble under pressure? Here's the second one. How can you lean into or embrace even more the grace of Jesus, knowing that he sees your failures, but he also offers restoration? As we close, let's remember that Jesus' love and purpose for us aren't hindered by our failures. He knows us completely and he still calls us his own. Let's rest in that assurance and strive to follow him faithfully, even when we stumble. Hey, I want to thank you for joining me today. My prayer is that you would stay encouraged, that you would keep seeking the heart of Jesus. And until next time, may you walk in his grace and truth.